to call this meeting of the Pinetop-Lakeside Town Council to order. We do have a quorum. I would ask that everybody make sure that your cell phone is silenced. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Vice Mayor.
Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful for this opportunity we have to gather this evening. Grateful for the beautiful surroundings in which we live. We are grateful for the moisture thou hast sent to our lands, and grateful for the opportunity we have to live here. We're grateful for all of our first responders and pray that thou would watch over and protect them. We're grateful also for the dedicated employees we have here in the town of Pinetop-Lakeside and pray that thou would bless them and their families. We pray now that thy Spirit will be with us in this meeting as we discuss matters before us and ask these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Item B on our agenda tonight is call to the public. This is a business meeting of the Town Council. The town values and welcomes public input. Please address the council as a whole and not individual council members. Do not address staff or members of the audience. Council action on items brought up in call to the public is limited by the open meeting law. Council may direct staff to study the matter and reschedule for further consideration at a later date. Items on the agenda are not heard during call to the public, and individuals are limited to 3 minutes. I would like to invite Mr. Mike Moffenbeier to come address us.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, staff, neighbors, and friends. I wanted just to come tonight. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce for Pinetop-Lakeside and give you guys a quick update on the Fall Festival. Obviously, I can't control the weather. We had some rain on Friday, got a little bit rained out. We had 2 really successful days on Saturday and Sunday, though. This is the first Fall Festival that the new Chambers put on, and I'm so happy with the volunteer efforts, the subcommittee leadership, especially led by Kelly Estill, who owns Chrissy's Ski and Board Shop, and she's one of our board members. She basically took the ball and ran with it from start to finish. Really proud of Kelly's efforts, and I wanted to make sure she got acknowledged in public. Lots of volunteer and board support, support from the firefighters, and lots of other community members that were out there. Really proud of the vendors that showed up. They did a great job despite the weather on Friday, and they got in there, got set up, and stuck with it. The performers that we had were excellent. We heard nothing but rave reviews about the performers, particularly Ray Villafane, who was the pumpkin carver. If nobody got the chance to see him, the stuff he did is amazing. Go on our Facebook page or our social media and look at the pumpkins that he carved. It's just amazing. And the kids that were there were just glued to watch this guy. It was really cool. Looking forward to getting started for 2026. Felt like we had a pretty successful. We're still working on the numbers, so I'll bring those back to you when we have them. What the finals were, but it appears that we made a little bit of money for the chamber, which is great, and we had a whole lot of first-time expenses that won't have to be repeated in future years, so that'll help save us money going forward. Now that we've got that finished, there's a few other things that I wanted to share with you guys. We're going to be moving forward with a business beautification initiative for Pinetop-Lakeside. It's called the IMAGE Initiative. IMAGE stands for Improvement, Maintenance, Aesthetics, Growth, and Engagement. And I actually have an entire framework built behind this that I brought with me tonight that I'm not going to go over tonight. But at some point in time, I'd love to come back and share more of that initiative with you guys. And it's really to give a beautification to our entire Pinetop-Lakeside community. A couple other things real quick is that we've got board elections coming up for the Pinetop Chamber of Commerce for Pinetop-Lakeside. So if anybody knows anybody that might be interested in a leadership position on the board, we would certainly love to hear from them. And all they need to do is simply submit a acknowledgement and a request to be considered for the chamber board at pinetopchamber@gmail.com. So with that, I want to thank the town for your support and appreciate everybody who was able to make it out to the Fall Artisan Festival this year at Charlie Clark's, and looking forward to next year. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, and congratulations on the success of that event. It was great. Anybody else have anything for Mike? Thank you. We'll look forward to next year. Item C is the consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of town council requests that an item or items be removed for discussion. Council members may ask questions without removal of the item. Items removed are considered in their normal sequence unless called out of sequence. We've got 3 items on our consent agenda tonight. Are there any questions from the council? Vice Mayor?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second that.
Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Item D is business before the council. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item before or after council discussion. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the mayor at any time. Item D1 is the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside Proclamation, Arizona Cities and Towns Week. Whereas the citizens of Pinetop-Lakeside rely on the town to experience a high quality of life in our community. And whereas cities and towns in Arizona work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to deliver vital town services such as police, fire, and emergency medical response to ensure safe communities. And whereas cities and towns in Arizona also provide services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents such as parks, utilities, street maintenance, sanitation and recycling services, libraries, community centers, and recreational programs. And whereas it is important for Pinetop-Lakeside to continue to provide the excellent delivery of services and programs that our citizens have come to expect in our community. And whereas it is one of the responsibilities of Pinetop-Lakeside officials to ensure open and accessible government through frequent communication with citizens using various avenues and means. And whereas through participation and cooperation, citizens, community leaders, local businesses, and municipal staff can work together to ensure that services provided by Pinetop-Lakeside can remain exceptional elements of the quality of life in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Pinetop-Lakeside joins with the League of Arizona Cities and Towns and fellow municipalities across the state of Arizona in declaring October 19th through the 25th, 2025, as Arizona Cities and Towns Week. In witness whereof I have hereunder set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, done on the 2nd day of October, 2025. We'll move on to item D2, which is an update of town projects. Public Works Assistant Malena Spillman will present tonight.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My pleasure to be here tonight. Is the clicker working, or are you moving slides for me? I don't know if it's working. Okay. We'll just start off. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the status of all of our outstanding projects that we have. A couple that we've finished recently, and then a couple that we're going to be finishing up here shortly, and then several that we still have quite a bit of work to do. So we'll start out with the first one on the list is the Woodland Lake Road and the 260 intersection. As you know, we've had several issues over the years with people wanting to have a stoplight there and having accidents. Unfortunately, it does not meet the qualifications for actually having a stoplight through ADOT. So we applied for a SMART grant, and we received the funding for design that has been awarded to Logan Simpson, and they're currently in the process of working on the design for that intersection, including turn lanes, widening. We'll have to purchase some right-of-ways on both sides of the road from the Maloney's, the Genesis side, as well as the corporation that owns the Chevron property. We'll be looking at putting that into the budget next year, next fiscal year. Those appraisals came in roughly around $100,000 for that purchase of that right-of-way. That also does include, this project includes extension of the sidewalks from 260 down to Woodland Lake Park. So we can go to the next one. I think this is probably the biggest topic of conversation as of late, the Top of the Woods drainage project. I think everybody probably remembers that was here back in August of 2019. We had a major storm event hit, and it ended up being classified as a 1,000-year event. As a result, we've completed major drainage improvements. I spoke a little bit about it in the work session earlier tonight, that we had drainage reports and studies done by Ardura and Speedy & Associates, as well as construction drawings, 100% construction drawings completed. And that took a couple years for us to do that. In addition, with all the cleanup, that took about 1.5 years to get all of that mess cleaned up, if you will. We've completed the south channel, the west channel, an access road, and excavation of the detention pond, increasing the capacity substantially. And it was actually built, the way we've built it was done to what it should have been in the first place. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, it just wasn't. So that's some of the stuff that we've been able to complete. And this is just a very rough overview. If anybody wants more detail on really what we've been able to accomplish in numbers and anything like that, we have the construction drawings at Public Works, and I'm certainly happy to sit down and go over that with you. The remaining work that we have to do later on the agenda tonight, we'll be asking you for approval to purchase the hot mix asphalt to pave the 6 roads that are on Top of the Woods that were majorly affected by the storm, and subsequently with all of the traffic that was on those roads because of all of our equipment and trucks. Those also had to be reconstructed and redesigned because they weren't built to standard either. So we've milled those roads. We will be paving beginning Monday, pending your approval later this evening. We have 6 roads: Pine Fir, Pine Village, and Pine Village has been extended. As you know, we brought to you, probably about 1 year ago, I think. No, I'm not positive on the date, but to bring in another section of the lower section of Pine Village into maintenance. So we've got that whole road of Pine Village, and then there's a little U, and that's Antler, Sequoia, and Pinon, and then we have Pine Spruce. Additionally, we have some driveway tie-ins that we'll need to be doing once we get that asphalt completed, and a few things that we need to finish on the retention pond, including a head wall where the inlet comes in on Pine Village, some additional riprap, and of course cleanup. The project, we have quite a bit of cleanup still to do just from our work. And on Pine Spruce, we have some electric lines that need to be relocated that we're working with now Petch Electric on doing. The conduit has been put in the roadway for where we need to have clear for paving. We still have a few spots that we need to add some conduit in that is not in the... And then we have some gates that we need to install on the access road or the maintenance road between Pine Spruce and Pine Village, and then down at the bottom of Pine Village we have a gate that we need at the cul-de-sac that we need to put in. So that's pretty much Top of the Woods. Over on Penrod Porter Mountain Road, something that we've been working on for 1.5 years, 2 years is, I'm sure Councilmember Heisler, you're more aware of it than anyone. We've had several fatalities on that road, and the biggest problem that we have with that road was the way it was constructed. It was elevated so high, and those ditches really created a hazard. So we've been taking all of the dirt that came from the Top of the Woods flood, and we've screened that, and we've added it out on the shoulders to lessen that slope. So it's made it quite a bit safer. We still have work to do out there. That's an ongoing thing that we'll be working on, as time permits and as material permits. We've been able to, fortunately, not spend other than staff time and equipment out there, we've not had to spend any money because it's all material that we already had. We have, to continue the widening, we've removed quite a bit of vegetation to increase the sight line, especially with the elk. There is a corridor there that elk cross quite often. So we've been able to do that. We still have some stumps that we need to grind down. And then we've also installed some ice warning signs that are triggered by temperature and electronically monitored. So those are installed and up and ready to go. They got tested a little bit last year. Hopefully this year they'll get some more testing. And then over onto Mountain Meadow and the ADA path and the new access road. As you all have been hopefully by Mountain Meadow, you've seen that we've been able to complete quite an extensive amount of the ADA path. It's approximately little under 1.3 miles of ADA path, and we have completed about 90% of that. Matt and Daniel and our parks crews have been out trying to get a lot of that completed before their departure. Some of the things that we still have to do are, and they're working on currently, is prep work along the west side of the soccer fields. We're taking that and turning that into potentially an access road and extending the ADA path along the soccer fields to tie in on the north side of the soccer fields. We have a geogrid material that we'll be using for underlayment that's already been purchased and is currently being stored in the Public Works yard. We'll be laying that down. That adds a layer of stability because it's such a marshy area over there and we have such a high clay content in our soil. We also have paving for the basketball court parking lot and the parking lot north of the soccer fields. Those are some of the things that we will be doing at a later date. There's just it's not in the budget this year to do those paving, but we are working to get that AB and that aggregate base built up so that parking lot can still be usable. And then we have some signage that we need to finish putting up for the pedestrian bike path and the crosswalk signage and final electrical. We do have an automated crosswalk that we've installed, so as folks approach the entrance to Mountain Meadow, it's triggered to automatically turn on rapid flashing beacons to warn people that warn drivers that there are pedestrians that will be crossing. So Betty's been instrumental in working on that in Hollis. So we can go to the next one. One of our other projects that tied into the Mountain Meadow ADA path is the concrete, and we put that out to bid and we hired Only Construction, Greg Only. He's a local and he is a fantastic concrete guy. So he is finishing up. He's put all the forms in for the last bit of the curb and gutter that we have in the parking lot around the basketball court. So he'll be doing that pour, I'm estimating probably later next week, if not tomorrow. And then he has an island in the middle of the parking lot that we have conduit and stubbed up for lighting, future lighting, that he'll be finishing. So again, I already mentioned the aggregate base for that parking lot, and we will also be putting that geogrid material under that parking lot for stability. Some other future work is the sidewalk extension from what is the northwest corner there at Mountain Meadow. It's essentially across from Settlers Lane. That project started from 260 and has ended there. That still needs to be extended all the way to Woodland Lake Road and hopefully eventually all the way around Woodland Lake Road, meeting up with the 260 project that we're in design on. Paving the north parking lot and the basketball parking lot. The water tank, the water storage tank. This has been an exciting one to see come to fruition. This has been something we've been talking about for, gosh, almost my entire career that I've been at the town. The construction is complete, and it was a labor of love. I probably should have included a picture of the rebar that went into the foundation that our staff was able to do and saved a significant amount of money doing that in-house, but there is a small fortune in rebar in that pad. It's not going anywhere. So it's a 100,000 gallon water storage tank that we did receive a WIFA grant for that storage tank. The additional work that we still have to do is to do the electric for the float and the controls, and then plumb it into our well. Additional pumps are going to be needed at some point, and a truck fill station is in the plans. The idea behind one of the things to add to this to make it more usable was truck fill stations that not only could we fill our water tenders, but if there happened to be an emergency and Timber Mesa or Pinetop Fire or Wildland Crews needed a truck fill station in town, we don't have the capacity in our lakes always, so this would be a reliable capacity that we'd be able to fill those trucks with. So those are future plans that we would probably take out to bid for those at a later date. Something that's ongoing and I've been working on with our staff is organization and our somewhat new software, Novo Solutions and ShareNet. We've been working on creating an inventory system, and I have been working with each of the supervisors to go over inventory and figure out a good way that we can make sure that we're utilizing the things that we already have instead of running to the store and buying something that we might already have. It also is the tool that we use to track our service requests, track our staff's time, and that is instrumental in budgeting and keeping track of projects and grants. Police Department project. We're super, super excited to be moved in finally and utilizing everything but the jail that's coming. We still have a few things that just small punch list items. One of the things that we've talked about is working with Chief and Commander and Council to get a ribbon cutting or a grand opening, an open house scheduled. Few things that we have left to complete are the jail cell doors. Those have been a little bit difficult to get from the manufacturer. We're hoping to have those installed in January or February. There are cell doors there. They're just not to the standard that they should be to ensure the prisoner's safety as well as our officer's safety. We have some gutters that we need to finish on the front. I believe that check was just recently cut for the remainder of that, and they are scheduled to come out in the next couple weeks to finish the gutters on the building. The gates and the openers are going to be done on Monday, and riprap in the retention pond and some signage. I'll be working with Chief and Commander on getting some signage on the front of the building as well as a shield. The Blue Ridge Teacherages, that's kind of been one that has not been on the forefront of anybody's radar as of late. The town, gosh, in the last 6 months to a year had committed to helping to complete the road into the Teacherages. If you're not familiar with that, that is a small housing development, if you will, behind the existing Love Kitchen, or what used to be the Love Kitchen behind Eddie's Country Store. They'll be building some housing for teachers. One of the things that is hard for any of the employers in Pinetop-Lakeside is to keep people in town limits to be able to work and have affordable housing, so especially with our teachers. So this is something that they have been working on to get that completed, and certainly it's something that we had committed to help with. I don't know what that's going to look like moving forward, and so that's something that we just need to keep on our radar, whether we take that out to bid or contract. It is something that we have on our project schedule. The last thing that I'll kind of follow up with is something that we just completed, and we planted 120 fruit trees at Mountain Meadow. And I have to be honest, when this project first came up, this was a former employee's idea. It was Madison Olson's idea. I thought, fruit trees at Mountain Meadow? What? It is, but it's fabulous. I can see it from our office, and I see the people that there's fruit on the trees already, and they're walking around picking it. And it has just been, it was a great team building thing. We had 3 planting days that we completed, and had some education days, had some public come out and help us, as well as a lot of our crew doing all the irrigation and getting those trees planted. We got trees from Christopher's Garden and from In Bloom Nursery. Some future plans include having picking days or harvesting days, if you will. And the parks crew is currently finishing adding some conduit around the path and by those fruit trees for future lighting project. I think that's all for now.
I think you've missed a few.
I'm sure I did.
So a couple of questions for you
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
tank.
Yes.
So we've completed everything we need to do for the WIFA grant.
We've completed the
tank itself.
The tank itself. We still have some reimbursements that we need to do. So because it was a $250,000 award, so there's still a little bit of match that we need to do that we'll be submitting once Buddy and whoever we get to work with Buddy doing the electrical and getting all of the plumbing and everything set up for that.
So are we going to continue moving on that? Because
Yes.
as it is now, the tank is just sitting there empty.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. And it is critical for us to get that going so that we can start. It's a very slow fill process that we need to do to make sure that we don't overburden it and cause any catastrophic failures. And so very slow process. So Buddy is finishing up the crosswalks. It should be done in the next couple weeks, and then he'll be moving on to that project.
And that will eventually lead to filling in the pond and all the rest of the plants down there.
Yep, all that. That pond will completely go away, and it'll be a lot safer for the kiddos and patrons at the park. So we won't have to worry about balls going in the pond and swimming after those balls. So, yeah.
And then the Top of the Woods project, all those little things that you mentioned, the loose ends, those will be done hopefully this fall?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's not going to take a whole lot of time. The thing that's going to take the longest is just the driveway tie-ins. But yes, those are stuff that I certainly believe that Matt and Daniel are going to get those, especially Daniel. He'll be here till the end of the month to get those finished up.
Okay, and I noticed you didn't mention anything about pickleball courts or the adaptive playground. I know those are aspirational goals.
Yes,
so
they are.
If you want to, or
I questioned on whether I should put those on or not. I know Mark Diltz is here from the Pickleball Club. I will be bringing next council meeting, the 16th, I believe it is, a resolution for the grant. It was not required to. I did apply for, or we applied for a Arizona State Parks and Trails Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for $1.3 million and change. It's a 50-50 match. The Pickleball Club has committed to $125,000 in a cash match. Some of the I don't want to say that constraints, I guess would be the right word to use on that project, is with the loss of some of our staff and those expertise. That's certainly going to be something that we need to look at as that project moves forward. It's a 3-year grant. So if we do get that, we could extend that over a 3-year period of time and work. I know the Pickleball Club has committed to working on getting as much materials donated as possible, that actually goes towards our match, and that can help as well. So it's something that we might get, we might not. We've been successful with the Arizona State Parks and Trails grants, so I'm hopeful, but I don't know. And then as far as the adaptive playground, that is still very much in its infancy stages. It is a wonderful project, and I think that would be well received by the community. If you've gone by Mountain Meadow, you've seen the sign for the adaptive playground. They are working to raise funds, and they've done very well, but they still have a long ways to go. So,
okay,
yeah.
those would both be great amenities. So thank you, Melina. Anybody else have questions, comments? It'll be nice to get some of those projects just kind of tied up. And
Absolutely.
buttoned up and
Yes.
move on.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us. I appreciate it. Okay, we can then go ahead and move on to item D3, which is a discussion and consider legal action on resolution number 25-1788 for possible approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant, contract 2026-11-005 for DUI enforcement funding. Commander.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is my annual visit to talk again about our partnership with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Back in March, we applied for grant money again to help put officers on the road during the times that we need them on holiday weekends and different times throughout the year. So we were awarded 3 separate grants this year, which is a little unusual. But for item D3, the first grant is a DUI grant for $3,000, which is for overtime. It's 100% funded for that overtime, and it's on a reimbursement basis. So with the DUI enforcement, that's to put more officers on the road during holiday weekends and have an enhanced patrol out there to look for impaired drivers and help keep them off the road.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Commander? A motion? Councilor Heisler.
I move to adopt and approve resolution number 25-1788, authorizing approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant, Safety Contract number 2026-2005, authorizing the Chief of Police as agent and or his designee for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside to conduct all negotiations and to execute and submit all documents and any other necessary or desirable instrument in connection with such grant.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and approved, moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Don't go away. Item D4 is discussion and consideration legal action on resolution 25-1789 for possible approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant, contract number 2026 PTS 053 for traffic enforcement funding. Commander.
Yes, this is the second part of the grant that we were awarded. This is another $4,000 for overtime funds. This one is called the STEP program for the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, which is Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. So it's more focused on aggressive drivers, speeding, distracted driving, and things like that. But it's used pretty much in the same way to get more officers out on the road with dedicated time to specifically look for these types of violations.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Commander Wilkie? Motion? Councilor Heisler?
I move to approve resolution number 25-1789, authorizing approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Contract number 2026 PTS 053, authorizing the Chief of Police as agent and or his designee for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside to conduct all negotiations and to execute and submit all documents and any other necessary or desirable instrument in connection with such grant.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve this resolution. Any questions? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Item D5 is discussion and consider legal action on resolution number 25-1790 for possible approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant Contract 2026-4056-003 for tracks equipment. Commander.
Yes, Mayor, this is the third part of the grant that we were awarded. This is solely for equipment. The equipment is 100% funded. The equipment that we're getting are laptops and vehicle mounts for our track system, which is a system we use to write citations that are electronically submitted to the court. We fill out our accident forms on this system, and they're electronically transmitted to the state. And there's a bunch of other stuff that we do with this equipment, but it helps us stay out on the road, complete these forms on the road, and it's a lot more efficient. The total amount of this grant is $15,129, which again covers 100% of the equipment that we were approved to purchase.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Commander Wilkie? Motion?
I move to adopt and approve resolution number 25-1790, authorizing approval of the 2026 Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Contract Number 2026-405C-003, authorizing the Chief of Police as agent and/or his designee for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside to conduct all negotiations and execute and submit all documents and any other necessary or desirable instrument in connection with such grant.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Thank you, Commander. Appreciate your work on these. Item D6 is discussion and possible direction to staff regarding the process for recruiting and hiring town manager. Rick.
Good evening, Mayor Irwin, members of the council. Your direction at the last meeting was to have us investigate some different firms that would assist the town in selecting or finding the next town manager on a permanent basis. I think three of you provided some contact information. We reached out to Human Resource Strategies, Top Search Recruiting, and the Duffy Group. I think three of you on the council gave us this information to reach out to these individuals. At present time, we have about 19 applications? 19 applications through our current efforts that we've done in-house. A very nice brochure was put together by Annie, and we've sent these applications out via different channels throughout the state. 19 applications. I think some of you have been in to review some of those applications. They're in Stacy's office for your review. Please come in and take a look at them and you know, decide for yourself what you think we should do moving forward. If you're interested in continuing to pursue a firm to assist us through through this process, the information that we were able to gather with the information that we've done thus far, putting the brochures together and reaching out some, we're probably looking at a cost somewhere between $10,000, $10,000 to $15,000 for, and then there's one firm that said that their flat rate is $150 an hour. They would typically charge about $30,000 for a city manager recruitment. They're not going to sit there and tell you exactly how long this is going to take, but to give you a sense, if you go out and look for one of the larger companies to do this search, you're looking upwards of $30,000 to find someone in-house, to find someone to take over. I guess at this point, we're just looking for some direction. If you want us to continue doing what we're doing, I think the other thing we're going to do is we're going to send out the notice to some of the, if it hadn't already been done, Stacy, you can tell me if it has or not, but to some of the assistant town managers and city managers throughout the state using the directory, the state directory. Just to, you know, I know when I was in prior manager positions, nearly daily I would get a brochure, you know, seeing if I knew of anybody or if I was interested in applying for a manager position in another community. That can be done as well to expand our reach. But we do have a number of applicants right now. And, you know, if you want to come in and take a look at those, give us your thoughts. In reality, every one of these people that we talked to said because of the timing, you know, some of them are very busy this time of year. One said that they had a lot of activity in October. They probably couldn't get started in October, maybe with some research or with some recruitment. But they did say that in reality, you're probably looking, in the best case scenario, to be realistic, finding somebody to come on first part of the year in January. Not likely that you're going to find someone prior to that, given the effort that you want to go through forming a committee or two. One group suggested that you have a couple of smaller committees that are a mix of maybe some community members, council members, department heads, and skill sets from other similar sized communities. I think that was mentioned at the last meeting. Might bring in a few town managers that would be willing, or city managers that would be willing to come in and sit on an interview panel as you're conducting this search. That's kind of what we've been able to find since our last meeting, and I guess we want to kind of get some direction from you on what you'd like to do. First thing I think you need to do is come in and take a look at what we got right now, because I do believe you've got some some candidates in there from what I'm hearing. I've not looked at them myself. I'm kind of staying out of this process. But I think you have some viable candidates you could look at right now. If you wanted to pull a committee together and save the expense, you could do that. Or if you want to go ahead and bring somebody in, help form some committees, you'd have a little expense in doing that. So I guess direction is what we're looking for.
So I was able to come in a couple different times and review the applications, and in my opinion, we probably have, of the 19, probably 6 or 8 that are real, that I would like for us to explore further. I know Vice Mayor has also looked at them. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to, but I feel like we need to continue moving forward in the process, and perhaps what we direct staff to engage with one of the firms to help us with the screening process and maybe setting up some interview questions and things like that. That's my opinion. I would love to have you weigh in on that, Vice Mayor, since I know you looked at them.
I too looked at the applications, went through all of them, and there are several that I feel like are viable candidates for the position. And yes, I would think we need to move forward. And I know the one said $30,000, but obviously we don't. They're not sending out. I don't think we need them to send out more applications. I think we should do that with what we have planned. But there's, again, would be, as the mayor said, I think maybe taking a look at that and putting the committees together and doing that. So, but yeah, I think we need to proceed forward with that.
I think the current closing date, Stacy, is it the 8th of October, 7th? We have until the 7th of October, still accepting some applications, so. We could extend it a little while if you'd like, or just have that as a solid cutoff date.
So will you have time maybe tomorrow to send out to all those assistant city and town managers? That wouldn't.
Amy has already done the flyer.
So it would just be a matter of the email. That wouldn't give them much time to apply if they were interested, but honestly, I feel like most of those type of people have probably already seen the league's notice that it's out there.
The brochure actually went into the league's advertising.
Right.
And a lot of the applicants you guys saw
Or reference.
saw from the league.
Yes, most of them saw it from the league, yeah.
So I don't know that we would gain a lot more by doing that.
Another avenue that I've seen recently.
Stacy, why don't you go up there and just, if you would, thank you.
Another avenue I've seen come across my emails is they'll email me advertisements for certain positions, government officials throughout the state and into Colorado. We could do something like that and make it faster. Just upload the flyer itself and email it to them.
So I wouldn't be opposed to extending it to maybe the 15th of October, but I really feel like we need to continue moving on this process.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was just going to, it doesn't, if we're not even going to be able to really get a firm engaged and get them going until November, then what does it hurt us to leave the process open and see how many applicants we get and give it some more time to run through the proper channels? I mean, if we're not in a hurry, because it doesn't sound like anybody's willing to engage before end of October or November in the process. Is that what I heard?
I think one
Well,
firm
I think
was,
one of them said that they were pretty tied up in October. They could help maybe reach out to some additional potential applicants, but that's about all she could do at this point until early November. She could probably help set up the committees, interview questions, and get that process rolling about November.
but it sounded like the other option might be available sooner.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the groups
One of the other.
has reached out a couple times since they sent the literature. I told them we were discussing it tonight and that I would get back with her.
The only,
I definitely think if we're going to put out more, we need to extend it a little bit,
Okay.
but the 15th or close to that, I think would be
I
fine.
think that's it, I think,
Okay?
yeah.
the only danger in extending it too long is the applicants that have already submitted could be
May find-
picking other positions, and, you drag it on too long, and they may just be disinterested, but
Of
that's,
course, the 15th is only another week.
Yeah.
I don't know what the consensus is. It's not really, this is direction, not an action item, so
And I told them, the applicants, that I would update them, so I can update them next week. Just giving them.
Counselor Heiser?
I think that's appropriate. If we're gonna send out something, we give people a little bit more time to submit and.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, is that what you guys need? Does that give you enough direction?
Enough direction, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for all your work on this, Stacy. I know it's been a lot. I appreciate it. And I encourage everybody to please take an hour or two and look them over. Okay, we're going to move on then to item D7, which is discussion and possible legal action of resolution number 25-1791 for the purchase of asphalt to complete the top of the wood drainage project from Perkins Aggregates by utilizing Navajo County's purchasing contract. Melina.
Good evening again. I guess really I'm just here to answer questions. We've kind of already talked about what we're doing. We have utilized Navajo County's contract. They go out to bid every year, and in March they entered into the contract with Perkins Cinders and Perkins Aggregate to provide hot mix asphalt. We've not had to go out to bid because they've already done that work for us, and we were able to piggyback on that contract. We've done that quite a few times. We've done that with the ADA path and the purchase of the asphalt there. We had 1,400 tons that we purchased for that project. So this is just one more step closer to getting Top of the Woods completed, and we are scheduled to begin paving on Monday.
Any questions for Melina?
I have a couple.
Go ahead, Councilor Heisler.
Do you know if you guys have considered outside sources outside of this state or Navajo County contract for this purchase?
No, we have not, because there's quite a few risks, and actually coming out, getting hot mix asphalt outside of the area is basically impossible due to the temperatures. The only thing that you would be able to do, even hauling from Snowflake, hauling asphalt all the way here to Pinetop-Lakeside, you risk that asphalt getting too cool, and so when you go to lay it down, you'll have catastrophic failures. So there's other options with equipment that goes through and mills it up, basically turns it back into asphalt, but you have to have a good base that you're milling to be able to have a good end result product, and those machines are a small fortune.
Okay, the next question I had was on the trucking. Did we get 3 written quotes on the trucking?
Did. Yep, and that was in your packet there. We don't have written quotes, but verbal from those companies. There really is only one option, is Perkins. Brimhall was not able to supply those trucks, and they were also $185 per hour versus tons. If you actually add up the cost of that, it would be over $50,000 that we would have been paying for the trucking.
Okay, I guess for Rick, I called Rick earlier today and kind of talked about some of this, but I have to say for the record and for the rest of the council that I have in front of me right now the purchasing cash handling policies and procedures for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, and I don't believe that we have followed these policies, maybe not in other purchases, and I surely don't see it in this one. I'll read some excerpts from that. It's our cash handling policies, page 4 on B, competitive bid requirements. Department heads are encouraged to seek alternative sources that may have better prices than state cooperative purchasing contract. The department will compare prices of similar products on the open market with those of the state procurement office or other government services and provide this information with the recommendation to the town council for appropriate action. On items purchases under $10,000 to $50,000, it says purchases between $10,000 and $50,000 shall be pursuant to a minimum of 3 written quotes, prices, or proposals. Purchases shall be awarded to the qualified vendor submitting the lowest quote. And in the CDR here, it doesn't say that Brimhall would be more expensive. It says that their timeline was not appropriate for when we were going to do the project. And then it just says, in the event that a minimum of 3 bids, quotes, or prices are not available, an explanatory memo will be included. And I don't see that memo in here. And so I just wanted to say that for the record and for the other members of council, that per our purchasing policies, the way I read it, we are not following them.
Mayor Irwin, I did have that conversation with Councilman Heisler earlier today. It's not uncommon. I know in the towns and cities I've worked with before, our public works departments oftentimes will piggyback off a different contract. As Milena said, those contracts are negotiated every year. They try to get the best price. I think this is a fair price for this in light of the timing that we need it to get this work done. Piggybacking on a contract like that is not out of the ordinary for most cities and towns, where they do use a contract that's already been bid out. A lot of times you'll piggyback on either another county or another town to get that competitive pricing, because they've already gone through that process. And it is kind of, I just paved a driveway here, and all of my asphalt came from Perkins because the temperature is sensitive. And the longer the haul, you cool down and it becomes a real problem. Then you have failure. You don't want that. And so I think the appropriate thing to do would just go ahead and, well, I don't know that it's necessarily, I mean, I understand Councilman Heisler's concern. You like to bid things out, make it very competitive, but when you're piggybacking on another bid, it is a competitive process. Maybe not ours, but someone else that's gone through that process.
I'm just stating that I'm not making this up. This is in our town policy under the item that says when you use the Arizona Department of Administrative Procurement Office or other government procurement service that provides previously bid products, and then it goes on to say the areas that I read. And I don't see that stuff provided in this CDR for council consideration. And so I'll leave it alone there.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from Elena? I'd entertain a motion. Go ahead, Councilor Smith.
I move to adopt Resolution 25-1791 approving the purchase of asphalt for Top of the Woods drainage project from Perkins Aggregates, utilizing Navajo County's purchasing contract, supplies, and various roadway materials number B 25-01-010, and utilizing the town purchasing policy for Perkins cinders to haul asphalt.
I'll second that. We have a motion, a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Thank you. That carries 5-1. Thank you for all your work on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor Irwin,
Yes.
I struggled with raising my hand there. I'd like to suggest we take this as a learning opportunity for the next time. We need to follow our procedures.
Thank you, Councilor Turner. Duly noted. There is no further business before our council tonight, so the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.